Hey, how's it going, sir? So this is the video for question 3 of the Metabolism CPT, where I had to explain the differences between lactic acid fermentation and alcohol fermentation. So alcohol fermentation does not occur in humans. It occurs mostly in yeast and in some bacteria. The pyruvate formed during glycolysis is decarboxylated, which means it loses a carbon dioxide atom to form acetaldehyde, which acts as an electron acceptor. Acetaldehyde is then used to oxidize NADH, which was produced during glycolysis, to produce NAD+, which feeds back into glycolysis. So the alcohol fermentation word equation, including glycolysis, is 1 glucose plus 2 ADP plus 2 inorganic phosphate, which yields 2 ATP, 2 CO2, plus 2 ethanol, which is fuel. And the difference between lactic acid fermentation and alcohol fermentation is that lactic acid fermentation does occur in humans as well as in some bacteria. The pyruvate produced during glycolysis is converted into lactic acid when the electron transport chain cannot utilize oxygen at a fast enough rate. So for example, during intense exercise, when you can't get enough oxygen to your blood, and lactic acid is then reconverted into pyruvate when the oxygen demand is met. And there is also no decarboxylation step, therefore CO2 is not removed. And lactic acid also tends to subside after about an hour after intense exercise. And the lactic acid fermentation word equation is, including glycolysis, equals 1 glucose plus 2 ADP plus 2 inorganic phosphate yields 2 lactate plus 2 ATP. And some uses for alcohol fermentation. Fermentation is widely used for the production of alcoholic beverages, for instance, wine from fruit juices and beer from grains. Potatoes rich in starch can also be fermented and distilled to make gin and vodka. Fermentation is also extensively used in bread making. When sugar, yeast, flour, and water are combined to form dough, yeast breaks down the sugar and gives off carbon dioxide, which causes the bread to rise. And also, alcohol fermentation is also used to produce ethanol fuel, which can be used in cars for gas. And some uses for lactic acid fermentation is that lactic acid fermentation is used to flavor or preserve dairy products and vegetables, for example, yogurt, sauerkraut, pickles, and kimchi. And is also used in the body for short distance athletic events such as 200 meters, 400 meters, and 800 meter events. Usually distances that people can do in under 2 minutes.